Hello, how are you? I am testing out StreamYard and seeing how I like it. So let's see, how can I make this big? Right there. Where's my chat? All right. How are you today? I'm sewing an Ethel tote bag. I'll leave this right here. So, yeah. How have you been? Let me turn this on. Let me get my settings. Instead of 8. I'm doing okay, thank you. So I'm doing the Ethel, um, what's this? Tote bag, and I am doing it in a floral print. I'm doing it in a floral print since I always sew like croc and stuff like that. I wanted to try something different. So I'm gonna do it out of this faux leather, and I added my bag tag, and then as the contrasting, I'm doing this floral print. And I think it's super cute. So that's what I'm working on today. This is oh, let me put some music on. Get some of that going. Because then it's gonna be like a funky sound. Let me see if I can do it this way. YouTube Studio and content, and can I pull up the music? Let's see. No. But I do have it on StreamYard. I mean, not StreamYard. I don't know. I don't want to mess with it right now because then I'll be losing time. Let me get this bag done. I need to get this bag done. We can sit here in silence for a bit. We can sit here in silence for a bit. I got to get this bag done. So, I don't have much time. So, I wanted to stay on schedule because I have to step out afterwards. So, I clip my sides together and I am going to sew it down at 1/8 of an inch. Right sides together. So y'all, I have been watching the first 48 on Netflix. I have been addicted. So I saw they have one, I think it's on New Orleans. And I went from that one to the first 48 and I have been addicted. I used to watch it before. It just makes good for a good background noise, that's all. I know, first 48. So I'm basically just guiding the fabric to make sure that it doesn't shift because this faux leather will shift. It will shift on you. So this is the front panel that is going to be like it's going to be a split slip pocket in the front of the bag. So I'm going to turn her over and give her a good press. And then we're going to top stitch it. What I like to do is when I am top stitching, I will put all around the edges and finger press as well to make sure I get those ends cut down. So, hi Carm, how are you? I'm just working on my Ethel real quick. It should be a quick sew. It should be quick. Plus, I get a chance to test out StreamYard and get familiar with it. So, we're killing two birds with one stone. Getting these watch hours in. When I'm done, I need to create a couple of shorts. Good. I'm going to create a couple of shorts this evening on the videos that I do have posted, the old lives. I'm just going to do shorts on all of those. So we're going to do that and try to increase subscribers. If this is your first time here, please subscribe. It helps. Have you ever made? Yes, I've made this before. I made it before. It's been some time since I have made it. So I do have my instructions nearby, but I've made this bag a couple of times. I even have the photo of my very first time making this pattern. When I first started sewing, I found and I found it in the Facebook group to Swoon because I posted it there when I first started sewing. I think it was back in like 2000 and I want to say 2021, 22. So I'm just top stitching. I'm using black thread. I just haven't decided how I want the straps to be, but I have enough time to figure that out. If I'm going to add it as a connector or if I'm going to just sew the straps down, I'm not sure. I saw a video where somebody had put like connectors on the side of the bag pattern, and that looked pretty cool, but I'm not sure how I'm going to finish it. But it's a super cute pattern. I like it. So I have my my tan fabric. It's a faux leather, and we're going to attach it to the main piece, which is this is what I'm using. I'm doing something a little bit different. So this is going to be my main piece, and it's going to be like that. And I'm going to have I don't think I'm going to put a split in the middle. I think what I am going to do is a magnetic snap here to keep it closed, but I really don't need it. No, it doesn't. It doesn't use it. Not really. It doesn't use any hardware, actually, to be honest with you. No, it doesn't use any hardware. You can do this pattern without any hardware. There's no zipper unless you add like a recessed zipper. So there's no zipper. It does have slip pockets. So for somebody who somebody who is not accustomed to using hardware, you could definitely do a couple of slip pockets and walk away with a bag that is easily functional. So I was thinking to just, I'm not going to do the split in the middle because I really like the clean look of this. So I think what I am going to do is add a magnetic snap on the inside. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do that right now actually. Let me get the magnetic snap, which is over here. Let me get the magnetic snap. So I have that. So usually with the magnetic snap, I usually like to get the male and the female. So I got the male and the female magnetic snap, and that's what I'm going to add. But the pattern calls for a split down the middle of the front panel. I'm not doing that. I'm definitely not doing that. So I'm going to do a magnetic snap. And what I'm going to do is, where's my ruler? So doing the magnetic snap would definitely help to keep that part of the bag closed. Jeez. Got a lot going on here. Spill the juice. So what I'm gonna do is find my center. So that's my center. And I have my male and my female. So what I'm gonna do is I want the female on that side. So I'm gonna put the male on this side. So say about I hope everybody had a good day today. Is anybody else sewing? If you are, what is on your table? What's on your table today? All right, so I'm gonna go down about, I'm gonna do like an inch. Go down about an inch, like right here. So let me make a mark. So I'm at an inch right there. So now I am going to, right here is pretty good. Make a hole right here. Make a hole. And I'm going to add the male. Yes. I'm going to add the male here. Let me try that again. Right there. Right there. Sorry, y'all. Give me a second. I'm just trying to pay attention so I don't mess up this lining. because it's already sewn on. Let me just snip it right there and right there. Perfect. So I got that. All right. So I have my mail on. I'm gonna put the backing. So I'm adding the back piece to the mail to hold it in place. All right, perfect. So now when I close it, it'll just right up against it. So now I'm gonna put the female on so I don't forget. So this is the female here. I'm gonna clamp her on. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to attach the bottom because we're gonna base it in place anyway because we have this foam that we need to attach it to. So I'm just gonna place it here. If this is your first time here, please like the live and subscribe. It'll definitely help the channel grow, which we are trying to do. Thank you. And if it's not your first time here, hello. Hey y'all. All right. So I'm just smoothing her out and I'm clipping her in place so we can add the female to the panel, and then we're gonna base this in place. Let me show you what it's gonna look like. I am using foam. I don't care about the foam being in the seam allowance because I'm sewing on my industrial, but if you are not sewing on your industrial and you have a domestic, this bag is definitely doable. You just have to keep the foam out of your seam allowance. So this is how the bag is going to look so far. So I am going to now poke holes in here to get the female strap in. The female snap connector. I'm talking about a female strap. So let's see. I need some light. Perfect. Okay. So we have this one right here. Let's make the seam up. And you don't have to do it the way I'm doing it. This is just my preference. You can definitely put the snaps on before you clip into your bag. I just found this way to be a little bit easier because I already have the male on. So being that I have the male connector on, it was just easier for me to guide the female. So the female is basically in place. I just need to get it through this foam, which we're about to rip into right now. Perfect. And there we go. I'm going to put in the washer to hold the female snap in place. And we're just going to close her up. So now we have a magnetic snap and it closes with no problem. Just to make sure it's evened out, I'm just going to smooth this out one more time. Is this the bag croc? Oh, Coco likes to make. I'm not sure. I know Coco used to like to make the Phoebe bag. She liked to make the Phoebe. I don't know if this was one of her faves. This was definitely one of my faves. This one and the Lola was my fave. But I haven't made this bag in so long that I definitely had to take a look at the instructions just to remind me of, you know, all the pressure points that I used to feel. But I think that's cute. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna baste it in place, just the front pocket side. This bag comes together pretty quick. It doesn't take long. If you're it, you know, I think that it's good for a beginner. A beginner could definitely do this bag because this was one of the first bags that I played around with when I was learning how to sew. This was definitely one of those type of bags. So I'm basically just sewing it in place at an 8 with the foam, just making sure I catch that foam. The foam is in my seam allowance, but if you're sewing on a domestic, you definitely want to keep the foam out of your seam allowance. So this bag is predominantly made with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So, hi Terrence, how are you? So, yes, can definitely be done on a domestic. I wanted to try something a little bit different because I'm always sewing some type of a skin, whether it's crocodile or snake or what have you. So I thought today I was like, why don't I just do something with a cute little floral print? So that's that. And plus, I have a dress that was cut up and given to me by my mom that used to be my grandmother's. And this flower print is almost like as close to that cut up dress. And I use that cut up dress as a nightgown. Um, but I thought it was a real cute I thought it was a real cute fabric to do the Ethel. The Ethel gives me like older woman vibes. I don't want to say old lady vibes because I like old lady bags, especially Dooney and Burke. Love me a Dooney and Burke bag. But I'm going to show y'all how this looks. This is how she looks so far. And I even went a little bit more different and put my bag tag in the corner when I usually do it in the middle. I just was like, we're just going to do something different across the board. So we have our main panel with the foam attached, bag tag is on, and we have the male and female magnetic snap to keep the front closed. Now we are going to put this to the side and we are going to work on, I say we're going to work on the sides and the bottom. No, matter of fact, let's finish doing pockets real quick and then we can work on the top and the bottom. So this is the slip pocket for the interior of the bag. This is the this is going to be attached to one of the linings, and then on this portion I am going to do the split in the middle so I could have 3 pockets in the bag. So it'll be two slip pockets in the interior and one pocket in the back. So I'm going to do that now. Might as well, since we were doing pockets, we might as well get this part out of the way. This bag comes together pretty quick. You could do this bag with cutting and everything if you just keep it to like if you just keep it to like the instructions the way that they are prepared as is, you can do this bag in like 2 hours with cutting. um, it doesn't take much to do. Now if you were going to jazz it up and beef it up, that's a whole nother story. But if you needed a bag for the night and you had some cute fabric, you could definitely pull off an Ethel bag, an Ethel Tote. But I don't think the Ethel Tote is like a night bag though. I would say more so like a market bag or something like that. Like you going to run errands and stuff. I would say something like that. For a night bag, I'm definitely pulling out a clutch or something cute, not a tote bag. So the same way I sewed the front slip pocket is the same way we doing the interior one. So I'm just going to sew it at an eighth on the top. I'm dropping everything around. I always got to keep the instructions nearby. Okay. Right. Let's go into the movies. Take them. Yes. That's the only time, unless we go into the movie, get some damn snacks. And I be trying to bring my own because them snacks in there be costing. Yes. So now I'm going to flip this. And the same way we did the top stitching on the front pocket, we're going to do the same thing here. But I'm just going to clip it in place. Yeah. We need to be pulling out clutches. We going out for the day, for the night, a night on the town, or a cute shoulder bag. I need to buy some more clips, but we're not going to talk about that because that should have went in the supply run I just did. But anyway, I'm still clipping in place so that we can keep the edges intact. Make sure it's all evens out on the top stitch. And then we're going to connect it to the lining. So, all right, I think that's good enough. So I'm just going to finger press it down a little bit. I'm going to add this over here. Now I like to sew barefooted, y'all. I like to sew barefooted. I feel like I could control the pedal better when my feet is actually touching touching the pedal. If I would have my shoe on, this would be like that. It would just fly. At least I can control it with my foot. But I'll definitely be in here sewing barefooted. Okay. So we have this part. All right, so we have this part done. So now I'm going to attach it to the lining. Hi T, how are you? Your clips be missing? Listen, mine don't be missing. Mine be popping. Every time I turn around, I'm like tossing one to the side. Okay. So now I'm going to take one of my linings and I'm going to attach it from the bottom because I notched it. So I'm just matching my notch. And then I'm going to clip around it. And as I'm clipping around it, I'm just making sure that it all adds up on the sides. You'll know if it's off if you clip it in place and the sides will start looking wonky. So you'll know with this pattern. So this pattern does call for a gusset. I know some of us don't like gussets. I know. But it does call for a gusset. At least the curve on this bag is not steep to where the gusset is not manageable. So we're gonna work through it. We're gonna work through it. So this is what I did. I added the pocket and attached it to the lining. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sew up the middle to give it that two sides. So I'm just gonna sew right up the middle. So what I'm gonna do first is, I think I can wing it. I think I can wing it this way. Move this out of the way. And I'm gonna go straight up the middle. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it. We're gonna do it. I'm not gonna mark it, but I know that it's gonna be in the middle because I'm gonna follow my notch. So it shouldn't be hard to stay straight, right? So stay straight. Straight up the middle. Straight up the middle. Till we get to the top. Voila. I did it. Let me show y'all what I did, and it worked. So now I have one pocket, and now I have another pocket. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to baste this down. We're just going to eliminate these steps real quick because these are like those steps that kind of like drag. You'd be like, damn, I got to do that part. All right. So we're going to go down the sides. We're going to go around. I'm just basting it in place at an eighth. I'm just basting it in place. For those of you who are just now joining, I am sewing an Ethel bag by Swoon Patterns. I think this pattern used to be free at one point. I don't know if there is a charge to this pattern now, but it used to be a free pattern. So I'm basically just basting the slip pocket to the lining. Now I'm thinking that this lining piece should be the back. I should install it in the back since we have a slip pocket in the front. But I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go along. this up. All right. So this is the pocket. I have another pocket here. Right? What's next? What's next? What's next? Next, let's work on the gusset. So we have the gusset. So we got one interior, we got lining. That's lining pieces. That's an exterior. We're gonna have to baste this in place too. So, and then the other part is over there. So you know what? Let me baste this in place and get this part out of the way also. Because then once we get to because once we finish that, then we can just go straight into assembling the bag. So I'm just gonna baste this foam to this exterior at an 1/8. I'm gonna do this at an 1/8. I'm just gonna baste it in. I'm gonna pivot with my needle still down. We're basting still at an 1/8. The foam shifted a little bit, but that's okay because that's all in the seam allowance. And it's not puckering, so we're good. And take my time around this corner, around this edge. And we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna take a straight. Straight across. Oh, it shifted a little bit, but it's okay. All right, so let's see. Not bad. Not bad at all. So we have this foam piece done. We're gonna put this to the side. Put that under there. Put that under there. So now we are going to work on the sides and the bottom. So the bottom, I did half of the work on. One did with some stiffy, and I put a piece of stabilizer on top. I want to say this is what is it, P71F or something? I don't know. It's a Pellon. I got it from Joann's before she passed and moved on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to baste the foam onto the sides, which will eventually get attached to the bottom to create the gusset. So I am just going to pin this in place, and we are gonna baste this down. And by basting, we're gonna stitch it at an 1/8. We do everything on this bag between an eighth and a quarter because when you're doing the final assembly, I believe the stitch length increased, not the stitch length, the seam allowance increases to, I believe, a half an inch. I want to say, from what I can remember. So, hey Sabs, how are you? Did I get to finish my barn jacket? So the barn jacket is right here behind me. I can show it to you guys. The only thing the barn jacket is now missing is the pockets. So I'm a little bit undecisive if I want all of the pockets or if I want to do some of the pockets. Like I definitely need the two pockets on the bottom, but I'm trying to decide if I want the top, the pockets on the top. So I did not put the pockets in yet. They are like in place. This is the jacket. This is the jacket. So she has the collar already. She has the inside is already complete. Um, the inside is complete. So I just need to do the buttonholes, the pockets, and then finalize the hemming. I want this to be this way, so I'm gonna hem it, but I'm gonna eventually fold this back up for this because I like this look. But this is my jacket. So she is done for the most part, just little twos and fews. Just a little twos and fews. The sleeves took me out on that jacket. I think it took me like 2 hours trying to figure out if I had the sleeves on correctly. And the thing is that I think the sleeve only had like maybe one or two notches and I still matched them up and I was still confused. But that was me. It wasn't nothing, in regards to the pattern or how it was written. It was just, sometimes it just takes me a little bit longer to understand what the pattern instructions is really trying to tell me. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I really need to. I'm really excited about stepping out of my, comfort zone and calling myself a beginner because it be situations like that where I be like, damn, I should have known this a long time ago. Um, but yeah, anyway, I'm rambling. But bottom line is I got the sleeves on. They are comfortable. Um, I like the jacket pattern better than the Ilford jacket because the Ilford jacket, it's a nice pattern as well. I'm not gonna, badmouth it because I do like the pattern. But this jacket by Lynn, I like it because it gives that it kind of feels fitted because of the darts in the front. It makes it more like female-ish, like a female fit barn barn jacket. So I want to make the jacket again. I want to make it in leather. I want to make it to where the elbows have like a patch, like maybe a tan patch if I do it in leather or something. I don't know. But I'm definitely going to do this pattern again because I liked it. I definitely liked it. Thank you. I like the pattern. But the sleeves definitely took me out. I was like, what? Why this doesn't fit right? And it was like, and I felt it. And it just did not feel like I did it right. And I think I might have I took that sleeve out of the armhole, must have been about 40 times. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, what? What am I missing? And I was like dumb hard on myself. And then I was like, you dummy, you put it on wrong. And finally I got it to fit right. And I was like, okay, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. So then I proceeded to do the neck, the neck bands, and that was pretty easy. I didn't have a problem with that. So I know next time that I do like sleeves, I have to literally like pay attention to what sleeve goes where. I have to pay more attention when I'm cutting them sleeves out. All right, y'all. So we sewing this down. We have this basted. So the foam is basted. I just basted in within the seam allowance. I'm gonna do this side now. Just making sure that it's clipped all in place. So yeah, I like that barn jacket though. I want to do it in leather. When I put the collar on, my husband was like, okay. And as soon as I got an approval from him, I was like, not you giving me an approval. I said, oh, what you want, buddy? Not you giving my jacket an approval. He was like, no, it looks nice. I was like, so all the time. And now all of a sudden you like my stuff. But I know it looks nice. It looks nice. It's a nice jacket. I'm just mad that it has like, there was like some streaks in the fabric that there was like some streaks in the fabric that I did not notice when I was cutting it. So I was telling everybody in the chat while I was sewing it, I was like, maybe I should just spot bleach it. I think that would look real cute. And then Lynn turned around and sent me a video on Instagram of somebody spot bleaching a jacket, and it was so dope. I was like, let me get the cojones and get a spray bottle and be spraying this fabric down. So because this fabric has that streak in it, I'm trying to like really, like, I need to examine it in daylight, like take it outside so I could see where the stains are, and then I could like probably just go in and spot bleach it. I think it'll look dope. I think it'll look fly. The jacket that Lynn has sent me that was spot bleached, I was like, that is so cool. People are so creative. All right, so I have this pinned. I'm going to sew this in place, just baste it. Just gonna baste this down. I'm just gonna baste this down right there. I'm gonna pivot and go down. So I am still in the seam allowance. Now, if you use like fusible foam, you could definitely omit this process. You do not have to do this process. You could just iron your foam down and just sew it up. But because I'm using sewing foam, that's why I am currently sewing it in at 1/8 of an inch. And continue down. All right, so now this is basted in. Yes, thank you. Please like the live. And if this is your first time here, please subscribe. It would definitely help the channel grow, which is what we are trying to do. Um, all right, so I have both of my pieces are fused down. I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom pieces. So I am going to pin that in place. Ooh, pinning this in place. All right. So same thing with this piece. We're gonna sew it down. Just baste it in. Pivot. I'm gonna pivot here. So yeah, my barn jacket just needs buttons. The buttonholes need to be added. And then I just need to decide on the pockets and um and do the final hemming. All right, so now we are here. I think in this part we have to sew the gusset down. I believe, I want to say, I think I could talk about the steps. I just can't say what the dimensions are. So in this step, I am going to be, okay, I got to sew it down at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So now it starts to change. So I'm going to take my seam guide. This is my seam guide. I got this from Madam Sew, along with the presser foot set that they have. Um, but anyway, put my seam gauge down. And now we are going to attach the bottom. We're going to line up the short edge of the gusset to the bottom of the panel. And we are going to sew this at a 1/2 inch, and then we're going to top stitch it as well. So I'm just going to clip it in place on the sides and on the bottom right here, and I'm going to sew that down at a 1/2 inch, which we use the seam guide for. I'm not sure. I've seen in like other videos that you can't really show the dimensions to like your pattern pieces and stuff. So I just got myself into the habit of not discussing it. So I'm not violating anybody's rules and or regulations about their patterns. I just, you know, so I just refrain from saying, the pattern piece dimensions and stuff like that. But I'll definitely say if it's like a 1/2 inch or of a 1/4 inch and what have you. So I sewed that down. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, and then we can top stitch. We have to top stitch here. So I'm going to do that. I don't know if I'm wrong. Y'all could correct me. I just saw it on a video here on YouTube University. where they were saying basically that it's okay to talk about the patterns. You just couldn't say like the dimensions of the pattern pieces if, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I just put myself right in that habit to just not say anything about it, you know? So I don't be getting caught up in nobody's, oh, but you said and you wasn't supposed to, and I be trying to refrain. So I sewed that part down at a 1/2 inch, right? So now I'm gonna top stitch them. So I'm gonna open up like finger press and I'm gonna top stitch it. And that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. Alright, so in this case, I'm gonna top stitch like here. So I'm lining up the seam. I pressed open the seam on the bottom and I'm lining up my presser foot against the center seam here, and I'm just gonna top stitch it. Line that up. Line that up. All right. Backspace. Or back stitch. I said backspace. Like I'm on the computer. So I top stitch on one end. I'm gonna top stitch on the other side now. I'm gonna do that part. Just make sure that it's flat on the bottom. And the same way I lined it up, I'm gonna do it again using the presser foot. And then here we go. All right. Now I have to do the same thing on the other side of the gusset. On the other side of the gusset. All right. Same thing. We are going to press it open, flatten it out, and line her up against the foot. Okay. Oh, okay. I just wasn't sure. Then like when you be looking at this stuff online, and you just don't never know like what is accurate and what isn't. So I just be refraining from discussing it, period. Like, but now I understand. um All right, so I have both of my sides are now top stitched. I'm just getting this thread tail out of my stitches. There it goes. It was stuck in my stitches, the thread tail. So I'm just pulling it out because I don't like the way it looks. So, yeah, there we go. All right, so I was able to get that out. Thread tails were stuck in my stitches and it was making part of it look too dark. So now they look good. This is my gusset. So now what I am going to do is we are going to attach, let's attach the gusset to this. So I'm going to find the center. So I'm going to put that up against there. Right. And this is the center. I'm gonna notch it. I'm just gonna notch it in the same allowance. I'm gonna notch it again. So I'm gonna notch it there. Notch it there. All right. So what I'm gonna do now is I am going to take the exterior piece with the gusset, and I'm gonna take my notch and I'm gonna line it up on the bottom. And we are going to clip that in place. Yes. I'm gonna put that in place. I'm gonna do most of the clipping here on the bottom. And then I'm going to take the top and I'm going to flip it in place up here. And then we're gonna work the rest in. We'll do the same to the other side. So we're gonna put that there on the top. Put that in place. And then do the same to this top. We're going to pin it in place up here. And that's to make sure that it all lines up. So now we can start to pin around the curve. So I'm going to do flipping here. And I think at this point, this is where we have to sew at a 1/2 inch seam allowance during this part. I'm gonna clip a lot. I'm probably gonna clip a lot because I don't want this to shift while I'm sewing it. So I'm just gonna clip as much as I feel comfortable with. And when I get down to the corner, I'm gonna clip and clip and clip and clip and go back and forth, which is right about now. All right. So at this point, You see this is hanging, so at this point you just have to um, continue to clip by lining up the edge as best as you can. A lot of clips here will help. If your sewing machine is a domestic, at this point, you really want to start clipping your seam allowance, like the bulk, out of your seam allowance, because this part here is going to get a little bit pained if you try to pass it with all this bulk through your domestic. So the key is just to clip and ease it in as best as you can. And it's gonna fall in place. It's just gonna be a little stubborn. As you can see, flip it this way. I just be trying to clip it and smoothing out the the, the rounded edge. I just be trying to smooth it so it doesn't have any puckering, because if you have some pucker, it will show. It would definitely show. So you want to clip around that as much as you can, as much as you need to. So I'm going to show you what I did. That's how much I clipped around it. So we're going to do the same thing to this side. Hi, Nina. How are you? Hi, Dr. Jen. How you doing? So I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Yes. So I'm going to clip it in place. And I'm just going to add as much clips as I need to hold that part down. I'm going to do as much as I need to hold that part down. Same thing, nothing, see these clips are just popping. Same thing, nothing has changed here. So we're going to take our time around this edge. And when we get to the rounded part, that's where we're going to go in. And all you need to do is just hold it and fit it right in place. And then pin it or clip it. Yep, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I'm just smoothing her out. Because if you don't smooth her out, you will see the pucker when you turn your bag out. And I think I'm gonna do I don't think I'm gonna birth this bag. I'm thinking about doing a drop-in lining. Let me see. So see, I have both ends done. Now the same thing we did to this, we're gonna do it to the other side with the fashion fabric, and then we have to turn around and do it again for the lining pieces. So this is the fashion fabric. So I'm gonna sew this in, I believe at a 1/2 inch. So let me get that going. I got my seam gauge, my magnetic guide, which I got from Amazon. The link is in my bio. It's definitely a part of my Amazon list, storefront list. All right, so sewing this down from the top at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. When we get to the curve, we're going to slow it up, and I'm going to use my stiletto to help guide the fabric at that point. So back up. And we're going to take it in. You can feel it too to make sure that your fabric is not puckering. So I'm just feeling it as I go along. Using my stiletto to help guide it. Fabric is turning. Hold on, we're trying to eliminate the pucker, so give me a second. Okay. Wait. Just go as slow as you need to. I'm making sure I'm not getting puckering. Using my stiletto. This might be the only challenging part on this particular pattern, is just avoiding the puckering around. Now you can definitely put some little notches in your curve, but this curve is manageable. It's not even like, it's not that tough. It's not that tough, y'all. It's not that tough where you gotta stop what you're doing to put slits in it. You just gotta take your time. So we're already around the curve practically, and now we're going to slow down the side, the bottom. That's gonna be quick. Now we just gotta take our time around that curve. All right, now we're approaching this curve. Use the stiletto to hold the fabric in place. And we're gonna start to pivot a bit. Smooth her out. Use the stiletto and just keep going. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Hey, how are you? Give me a little bit. I'll be off live in a bit. What time is it? I'm sorry? All right. So at this point, whew, that part almost took me out, y'all, but it wasn't so bad. It's doable. It's a doable curve. You just gotta take your time around it. This is what mine looks like. Let's turn her this way so we could see the damage. Let's see how she looks so far. So this is what it looks like so far. This is what what it looks like so far. So if you take your time around the bottom, you could definitely eliminate um, some of the bulking that have not bulking, but the puckering. That's how it looks so far. So I'm gonna continue, right? We're not gonna stop here. We're gonna keep going. So now we have to do the other side. I like this. This is definitely cute. Um, I would definitely add this to my Etsy shop. I like the way it's coming out. I don't know if I'm gonna add this one per se, but either way, now we have to work on this one, right? So we have our notch on the bottom. So we're just going to attach it here. So I still haven't decided if I'm birthing this bag or I'm doing a drop in. I think I'm gonna do a drop in this time. I think I'm gonna do a drop in lining. Hi Diane, how are you? I think I'm gonna do a drop in. But anyway, the same thing we did to one side, we're gonna do it to the other. So I'm going to clip it up top, make sure that stays even. Hold that in place. We're going to do the same thing to this side. Do the same thing here. The stiletto definitely helps out with those rounded edges. I mean, you can clip into them if you want to, if that's your will. I'm not the clipping um, curves type of person. I really don't clip around curves. I generally just make it fit, make it do what it do. I'll be YOLOing, but it be working. So the same thing we did to the other side, we're gonna do around this curve. We're gonna do the same thing here too. I'm gonna do that. Look at that, a broken clip. Now I see why Armina be keeping a big tub of clips. She has a big old aluminum tub full of clips. I'm probably gonna end up like her eventually because I need to order me some clips as much as I be going through these. Yeah. So if everyone could please like the live and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. So every subscriber helps. If you got family and friends who's into crafting, if you can share my page with them, I would appreciate it. I would definitely appreciate it. I'm trying to hit monetization before February of 2027. So I have officially moved all of my lives to here on YouTube. So Wednesdays, I'll be sewing my Couture Eve bags or bags in general. Um, on Thursdays and Fridays, I'll be sewing up some garments and some whips. So, yeah, and I'll be on 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Yes, is that and also subscribing. So when you see the thumbs up like this, you just tap it, and um, they also have that. I hope you never give me that, but you never know. You never know. People may be like, I don't like her content. Nope. But I hope everybody is here to be supportive to me. So please like the live with the thumbs up and subscribe and tell a friend or family to like and subscribe as well, because every like and every subscription definitely counts towards my monetization goals. So I would appreciate that. Um, so this is how I ended up clipping the other side. I did use a lot more clips, but we're going to get some good results out of it. So I'm going to sew that down now. Same thing at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So let's go. So I'm going to do it. Maybe it'll be easy. It'll probably be easier to sew it with this part down because you can easily squish and manipulate when you need to. So I'm going to leave my 2 clips on top. They're in place, and we are just going to sew around this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Maybe I should just move it down a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to do that. I think this is going to look super cute. It's definitely in season for fall. I thought it would be something different. Seeing as though as I haven't made this bag pattern in some time, I was like, why not just do it with some simple floral fabric and, you know, all right, we are on the curve, y'all. Hold on, let me concentrate. Hold on. We are coming around this curve. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Let me pay attention before I start crashing. Hold on. I'm just making sure that we don't have any puckering. I feel the puckering. Hold on, y'all. All right, there we go. Okay. There we go. Bring it. Bring it. Okay. Nah, sometimes y'all gotta fight. Sometimes y'all gotta fight with the bag. Sometimes you gotta fight with the bag. Like, listen, you gonna do what I tell you to do, okay, Tina? Okay, Tina? All right, hold on. I'm still at a half, y'all. Still at a 1/2 inch. Now we at the bottom. All right, here we go. Here we go, y'all. We bringing it home. We bringing it home. Now, when we do the lining part, it should be easy around those curves. All right, here we go. We coming around the curve again. Let me. All right, here we go. Turn in. So as I get into the curve, that's when I start to slow down and feel with my finger, because you can feel where the puckering is at with your finger. If you just take your time, you can smooth it out. And just, even if you have to do like one stitch at a time, it's better to do that and have no puckering or less puckering, as if you were just rushing just to get around that corner. So at this point, I'm already over the curve. So I'm just going to continue to feel out any puckering and doing one stitch at a time until I feel comfortable enough to say, take it home. And at this point, take it home. Take it home. Because I already went over the most difficult part, which was going around the curve. So we have to do it again, but we have to do it with the lining part. And at that point, it should be easier because the lining doesn't have any foam. I'm using waterproof canvas, so there's really no struggling with the lining. Not as bad as we struggle with this part. I'm gonna turn her out because I'm curious to see um, how it looks. Let's turn her out. Here we go. So it's easy to turn out because it's made out of foam and this faux leather is soft. So this is what she looks like. Just need to give her a good. Let's see, I got a little bit of pucker, but it's okay. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Let's see. All right. So this is what we got for the bag itself. So we have this. We have the magnetic snap here in the front to hold that down. This is the back. And as you can see, it has a little bit of pucker here, but I can fix that. I'll fix it now. But that's it, really. Not much. Just that little teeny bit there. And over here a little bit, but we can fix that. It's not a big deal. But this is the bag, right? So I was thinking to add connectors here on the side and do it as a one shoulder bag, or I could do it where it has both shoulder bags. So I don't know. We're going to figure that out. We're going to figure that out. I'm going to finish it. So let's work on, I'm not going to pull that out right now. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to keep working on it until, what time is it? Oh, it's 7:30 now. All right. I'm going to keep working to at least 8 o'clock. I think 2 hours would be good. So I can fix this offline, but right now we are going to move on to the lining. I like the way this is coming out though so far, y'all. I think this is super cute. So what I'm going to work on now is the lining. We're going to do the same thing. So we already have the slip pockets added to this lining piece. So this is probably going to be, let's see, should I put in the front side? Yeah. Or should I put on the back side? I think I want this lining piece to be in the back because we already have a pocket in the front. No, I'm going to add it to the front because usually the back one is usually like a zipper pocket, right? But I'm not doing a zipper pocket, so whatever. At this point, we're going to construct our gusset for the lining. We're going to use the same technique that we used for the gusset on the exterior. So we're going to match the short edges together, and we're going to sew this down at a 1/2 inch, but we don't need to top stitch. Um, we don't need to top stitch this, and I'm not going to. So I'm just going to throw some clips here on the sides. And what I'm going to do now is we are going to sew this down at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, so we did that. We are going to do the same thing to the other side. We are going to match the edges. We are going to do that. And we are going to sew this down as well at a 1/2 inch. So let's do that. All right, so we got that done. So now the same way we did the, I don't know, maybe I should top stitch this. Now what the heck, I'm gonna top stitch it. But I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna top stitch it like this. I'm just gonna do one straight line. Because the other one for the exterior we did two, right? So I ain't got nothing to lose to have some top stitching. And I got a nice looking bag to gain. I'll just do the top stitching. Alright, so that's that. I'm gonna top stitch this side. And what I did was when I top stitched, I took the seam and I top stitched it against the side panel. I'm gonna do the same thing on this one, just so it can look a little decent and look neat. So I'm gonna just top stitch it. It ain't gonna hurt. If anything, it's gonna make the bag look that much neater on the inside. So I'm gonna do that. Okay. So now I'm going to put that. And now what we're going to do is find our center to the bottom panel. So I am going to find the center point like this, and we're going to clip it. Do the same thing on the other side. All right. So now we're going to I'm going to take this piece that has my slip pockets and I'm going to line it up right sides together with the notches that we just made. So I'm going to line it up here. We're going to clip in place here. I'm clipping along the bottom edge. I'm not clipping around the curved section. We're just going to clip straight across, and then we're going to immediately jump to the top and connect our side pieces with the top of the lining. So I'm going to put that in place. Do the same thing with the other side. And then we're going to clip and then sew and construct the lining the same way we constructed the exterior. And then at that point, the bag basically would be almost completed because I'm doing the drop-in lining. So I just need to decide quickly how I want my handles to be installed. Okay, so now I'm coming around the edge, the curved edge. So I'm gonna take my time and clip. I'm just gonna fall right in place. There. And then I'm gonna clip here. Put it there. All right. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. So let's look here. 20 minutes, y'all. 20 minutes. I got 20 minutes to take this bag as far as I could take it. 20 minutes, y'all. 20 minutes. All right. So I am at the curved part here. And right here. I'm going to keep clipping. Hi, Shamir. How are you? All right. So I got my lining clip. We're going to sew it at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. 1/2 inch. All right. Here we go. We're approaching the curved. Hold on, y'all. I got this curve. I got this curve. Y'all know I get quiet. That's because I'm concentrating. That's because I am concentrating to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can. All right. All right, here we go. Perfect. taking it home. Hold on, we coming up on this other curve, y'all. Hold on. Once we out these curves, we are good. We got one more um panel to go with this struggle of getting around these curves, but we gonna do it. We gonna do it. We gonna get around it. In my raspy, in my voice, we gonna get around it, y'all. We gonna get around it. All right, hold on. It's a little puckering here. All right, I'm gonna pivot a little. All right, using my stiletto. Hold that in place and keep going. I'm gonna turn, get that clip out. I'm gonna use the stiletto. Perfect. Perfect. Take it around this corner. All right. There we go. All right. So now we have one panel is attached. Let me inspect it. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Now we got to do the same thing to this other panel. We're going to take the bottom and line her up to the notch. And then eventually we're going to take one bag and put it inside the other and stitch her closed. So we still need to figure out what we're doing with these straps. I think I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. I'm just going to sew the straps in. I'm just going to sew the straps in. I'm going to connect this on the top real quick. Right here. So that's that. Yeah, so the straps, I think I'm just gonna do, gonna sew the straps against the panel, because if I don't, then that means I gotta add hardware, and I don't want to really use hardware. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like beefing up the bag. I just wanted to do the Ethel as simple as she is. All right, so I got one end pinned or clipped. I'm going to clip this end now. So I'm clipping the top to hold her in place up there. And then we're going to clip around the struggle points of this pattern, which is the curve. And the curve is not even a deep curve. It's not even a deep curve to be struggling. But if you have, if you didn't clip the foam out of the seam allowance and you're on a domestic, prepare to be cursing. That's all I'm gonna say. Because I remember when I first did this pattern, I was new to sewing when I first did this pattern, and I did it on my Singer 2277. And that, I'm not going to say that was the day that I chose to get an industrial, but that was one of the days where I was like, okay, I need a horse. I need a workhorse. It was definitely close to that time. But anyway, what time is it? All right, we got about 15 minutes. I think we could get a lot of this done. All right. And I'm only saying that because I hear hubby downstairs banging the pots and pans. So that only means that he's in my kitchen making a mess. So I gotta go down there and play what I gotta play micromanager. I gotta go downstairs and play micromanager. Like, what are you doing? So I'm basically just smoothing out the um the lining. I'm doing the same thing on this side. I did not clip this. Let me do this now. All right. So at this point, I'm just clipping as much as I can, especially around these curves. All right. I think we good. Let me go over here. All right. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to sew this down at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. The same thing we did to one side, we're going to do it to the other. So I like to sew with the pins down. I think it gives me more control. We're going to sew it at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So let's do that. And then you're going to back stitch as well from the beginning and the end. So at this point, let's take it home, clear out any pricks. All right, now I got my stiletto in hand to help guide that curve. Just take your time. I'm gonna take my time. You know, I'm gonna pivot a bit. See that when I pivot, that whole thing is flat. Okay. So at this point, we want to do this. Alright. Takes you gotta basically fill the fabric out for the puckers, and you can straighten it out. You just gotta take your foot off the pedal and basically feel for the puckering. Alright. We get away from that. We're gonna take it down this middle. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. I didn't forget that y'all were there. I just kind of zoned out a bit. Trying to go around these corners. What y'all doing? What y'all doing in the comments? Nobody's saying nothing. What y'all sewing? What's on your table tonight? I'm just coming around these. Thank goodness this is my last curve. Hold on, I'm almost done. I'm gonna look right now at the comments. See what y'all talking about. Hold on. All right. So at this point, I am basically in the middle of a curve, and she's working out perfectly. Perfect. There we go. Now we can take her home. Come on. Get that. Get that. Get that. Get that. All right. Voila. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim. You sewing tops? Okay. Yeah. I'm going to be making the Maeve tomorrow. I've never made the Maeve before, but it looks like a good knit. It looks like a good knit pattern. So I cut it up today. I have it all prepped for tomorrow. I'm super excited to sew it up. I'm gonna be using a some type of like a cream. I think I want to say it's like some type of a sweater knit. I don't be knowing what type of fabric I'll be having because I bought the fabric from Joann's when they were there, and usually when I used to shop there, I used to shop and I used to ask them for either the tag on the bolt, like they'd give me the top of the bolt, and I would mix it in, with my fabric when I would store it. But with me moving my fabric from place to place, from downstairs to up here, a lot of those tags were displaced. So basically, I'm just trimming my seam allowance down to, like, I'm gonna say about a quarter. Let's say about a quarter. I'm just trimming it down half. I'm just being careful where I'm trimming because I don't want to trim. I don't want to trim around my see, I almost did. I almost did. I almost did. Good thing I stopped talking crap and paid attention to what I was doing. Sometimes I'll be having to just shut up. I'll be having to just shut up and pay attention to what I be doing because hold on. Let me shut up. Let me shut up. Hold on. I'm trimming my seam allowance because I don't want all that in the bag. All right, let me see. I did not cut there. All right, so this is what's going to happen now. So we have the, let me fix this real quick. Hold on. I might as well fix it now that it's open than to close it. And because I'm that person that if I see something and then I ignore it, and by the time I'm done producing it, I'd be like, damn, I should have just took that out. So I don't want this to be that moment. So I'm going to feel it. I think this is fine. I think it's over here. So It was over here. You know what? I'm gonna do this. We're gonna sew another. We're gonna sew another stitch around, right? Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sew right here. Yeah, let's do it that way. Here we go. So all right. Here we go. Around here. Perfect. Right here. Okay. That is even better. I bet you. I bet. I bet you. I don't feel nothing puckering over here. So I'm gonna keep going. Keep going. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Right there. All right. Here we go. All right. Let me take it home and then we're done with the exterior. Okay. All right. That's it. We're done with this. I'm going to turn her out. We're going to inspect her again and see how she looks. This is a quick quality check. Quality check. Quality check. I'm almost certain this way came out better. But we're going to see. We're going to see. Going to see. Yes. She just needs to be shaped a bit. Shaped a bit. Shaped a bit. Perfect. She just needs to be shaped a bit now, but she looks good. Let me. Hold on. Okay. All right. Perfect. So this is what I have now. And all I need to do at this point is just put her inside of the lining to close her out. So I'm gonna take a break now. It's 8 o'clock. I gotta go get dinner going. But the only thing that this needs now is just to close her up. So she's pretty much done. I just have to close her up, attach the handles. I think what I'm going to do is these are the handle pieces here. So I'm going to make 1 inch handles, and I'm going to have a handle set on the front and a handle set in the back. I was thinking maybe I should just do two strap connectors here and then just do it like a purse, um like a shoulder bag. But I think it would look cute too with two pieces of this, one in the front and one in the back, and just have it, it'll just be two. So let's see, it'll be kind of like here, and then I'll have, I think this is cute. This is a cute floral pattern. But we did put the connector in the front, the snap. I think that'll look super cute. What do y'all think? Y'all like it? I think it's cute. I haven't done like a floral print in a long time, so I kind of like this print here. I like this print. Um, you know what? I got 5 minutes. Let me try to do a handle, because all I need to do to finish this is put the, let me see. So it's just gonna go in here, like so. And then all I need to do is just, oh no, because I'm not birthing it. So I would have to actually put this lining inside of the exterior. If I was birthing it, then I would put the exterior um, wrong side out, inside of the lining right side out. But because I'm doing a drop in lining, I think it would just have to go in like this. So I have the slip pockets are in the front. Because it's a drop in lining, I think what I'm going to do is fold the top part in. I'm probably going to fold it at 1/4 to 1/2 inch, and then sew it all the way around. But I will do that after I finish the straps, because I'm still trying to decide if I want if I want 1 strap or 2 straps. I think 2 straps will look super cute. But I don't know. I did cut the fabric for 2 straps. So what I'm doing now is I'm not finalizing my placement, but I'm basically just checking to see where and how my bag is going to look once I top stitch it closed. So I'm matching up my marks. I'm not going to close it just yet. I'm just feeling her out. So, what is this? Let's put that there. This hole kind of feels like it's tight. Like that bag, this bag pattern has like a, like, it's kind of tight around, but that's how the pattern was written, so whatever. Um, so I clip this in place, and now I can really see what I want to do and how I want it to be. Okay, so definitely I have to turn these edges in. But this is the bag. It's super cute. It's nice and spacious, y'all. I don't know if this is a free pattern. I don't remember. I would have to go on their website to see if this is one of their free patterns. I remember I got this pattern for free though. I just can't remember if it's free now. But anyway, so this is it, right? I did not add any purse feet. It's nice and beefy because we use the foam. So at this point, I have a couple of more minutes. I'm going to work on the straps. Can somebody let me know when Carm is on? I think I'm pretty done. Um, Maybe I shouldn't start the straps. I gotta go make dinner. But anyway, y'all. Yeah, why don't I do that? And catch somebody on live. This is pretty it, y'all. I think I'm done for tonight, y'all. I think I am done for tonight. So this is my Ethel bag. The only thing we have left to do is just close her out. We need to add straps, and she's pretty much done. So tomorrow I will be on here 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be working on the Made pattern by Made for Mermaids. Tomorrow I'm starting the top. I already have the fabric cut out. I'm doing the cropped version of the top. I wanted to make sure I had enough fabric. I'm really not a crop girl, but I cut the cropped version out for the top. And then for the bottom, I definitely cut the mini because y'all know I like mini skirts. So I definitely cut the mini. Um, so we'll see how much I can get past it tomorrow with the top. And then if we have enough time, then I'll start the bottom. And then whatever we don't finish on live tomorrow, we'll finish it on Friday. And we'll just use Friday as the whip day to finish off either this bag and the pattern for tomorrow, or just the pattern for tomorrow. So we're going to do that. I'm also thinking about increasing a little bit my live time. Maybe I should just keep my lives scheduled for an hour and a half. And then if we go into 2 hours, we just go into 2 hours. But I want to try to make sure that I get as much done in the lives from start, hopefully, to finish. And I know that some patterns I'm not going to be able to finish because my sewing speed with certain patterns and what have you, but we're going to figure it out over time. Maybe I'll just keep it, my lives scheduled for the hour and a half, and if we go over, we go over like today. um so yeah, I'm gonna keep it like that. And then I have classes is getting ready to start in September. I still plan on hosting my lives Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday here on YouTube at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if anything changes, I will keep you guys posted in my Instagram stories and in my, in my threads or what have you. I'll definitely post it in the socials, but it'll be either in stories and threads for the most part. So, thank you all for joining me. I gotta go make something to eat. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me today, and helping me try to reach my goals of monetizing. So, if you would please, if this is your first time here, please subscribe, to help the channel grow. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Um, and turn on your notifications. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye, y'all. Bye. Now, how do I end this? Let's see. There we go. And I'm leaving.